I'm Ron, by the way. Ron Weasley.
There are underrated characters, and then there's Ron Weasley. Someone who had all of his potential snatched away, literally. When you hear Ron Weasley, you probably think Harry's best friend and Hermione's love interest. That's because the Harry Potter films stole all Ron Weasley had to offer, including his actual lines. Let us show you.
That was clever, Ron.
That's been known to happen.
One thing that always set Ron Weasley apart from his friends was his knowledge of the wizarding world.
I know what that is. That's an invisibility cloak.
Harry and Hermione were both raised by muggles and fascinated by everything magical, just like how Mr. Weasley didn't quite get rubber ducks.
Tell me, what exactly is the function of a rubber duck?
But the movies never really showed that advantage he had over the duo. Instead, the moments where he would shine in the novels were given as lines to characters like Hermione to show her intelligence. Remember when Malfoy insults Hermione by calling her a mudblood in the Chamber of Secrets?
No one asked your opinion, you filthy little mudblood.
Just like Harry, we have no idea what that actually means until he asks in Hagrid's hut. In the novels, Ron is the one to give Harry an answer, but in the film, Hermione is the one to spit out the definition.
Mudblood's a really foul name for someone who is muggle-born, someone with non-magic parents, someone like me.
She does read a lot, but this definitely should have been a line Ron got to keep. It just made sense. Everyone knows that Hermione loves to share her knowledge with others, or be the one to explain something. It's part of her charm, no matter what Snape thinks.
Put your hand down, you silly girl.
However, in the movie, they took her excitement of knowledge to the point where it left Ron in the shadows. The Order of the Phoenix doesn't kick off at Hogwarts. Instead, we get to see the Golden Trio reunite at Grimmauld Place. But Ron and Hermione had been keeping some very big secrets about the Order and Voldemort from their friend. And when Ron begins to explain the reason behind their secrecy, Hermione interrupts with her own explanation.
We wanted to write, mate. Really, we did. Only what?
Only Dumbledore made us swear not to tell you anything.
In the books, it's all Ron who gives Harry the reason and apology. It's not a huge moment, but it's definitely a moment where they stripped away Ron's true character. Harry figures out pretty fast that he won't be attending his final year at Hogwarts. Instead, he'll spend the year hunting the Horcruxes that make up Voldemort's soul. At the end of Half-Blood Prince, Harry and Hermione have a heart-to-heart on a Hogwarts balcony, where she assures him they'll be by his side the entire way.
Don't really think you're going to be able to find all those Horcruxes by yourself, do you? You need us, Harry.
If you're like us, you're probably wondering why Ron wasn't included in this conversation. Well, the truth is he was in the novels. In fact, he's the one who tells Harry, "We're with you whatever happens." Why would they take such an emotional moment away from Ron? This line would have shown how much Ron cared for his friends. We're a sucker for any best friend to lover trope, including Ron and Hermione, but we're just going to put it out there. Their relationship was definitely sidetracked when the books were translated on screen. Their relationship was anything but obvious. We didn't even get a hint that Ron liked her until the Yule Ball and the Goblet of Fire. But the same can't be said for book Hermione. Ron was defending her even when they were still children. There's a point in Prisoner of Azkaban during the page 394 scene.
Turn to page 394.
Where Ron defends Hermione after Snape calls her
Insufferable know-it-all.
In the movies, Ron actually agrees with Snape, and snidely tells her,
He's got a point, you know.
seriously, are these two Rons even the same character? Harry, Hermione and Ron's first adventure together is a memorable one. They play a wild game of wizard's chess, fly to find a magic key, and get trapped in some devil's snare. However, there's a major difference between the book and movie versions of this adventure: Ron's bravery. Sure, in the movie, he takes on the life-size game of chess in stride, but when they get themselves stuck in the devil's snare, it's all pleas for help from Ron. It's definitely understandable, but disappointing when you remember how he actually responded in the novels. Ron is actually the one to comfort a panicked Hermione enough to remind her that she is a witch with powers. That gets her brain gears going and she saves the day.
Stop moving, both of you. This is Devil's Snare. You have to relax.
It would have been nice to see this kind of teamwork between them happen on screen. Ron even got his lines about Scabbers taken away from him. The Golden Trio gets the shock of their lives when they discover the truth about Sirius Black, but also the truth about Scabbers. Ron's 12-year-old rat is actually Peter Pettigrew, the man who betrayed Harry's parents. In the books, the three attempt to explain to their headmaster exactly what went down at the Whomping Willow and in the Shrieking Shack, including Scabbers' transformation. Ron is the one who has the honour of spilling the tea to Dumbledore.
Scabbers who did it.
Scabbers?
He's my rat, sir. He's not really a rat. Well, he was a rat.
However, in the movies, they make it seem as if Ron is unable to even form a proper explanation. Instead, Hermione jumps in and steals his line. Again.
Then they gave him an owl.
The point is, we know the truth. Please believe us.
It seems like a lot of the films use Ron more as comedic relief instead of the epic character he was meant to be. Speaking of the Shrieking Shack scene, things get pretty heated in there. Ron with a very hurt leg, Harry convinced he's about to die, and Hermione stepping in to be the fearless witch she is. She even steps in front of Harry and offers herself up before Sirius has the opportunity to hurt Harry.
If you want to kill Harry, you'll have to kill us too.
But that's not how it went down at all in the books. Any guesses of what actually happened? That's right, Hermione was once again given a moment to shine that was originally meant for Ron. In the book, Ron drags his hurt body in front of his best friend and proclaims not once but twice that Sirius would have to go through him before he got to Harry. We're starting to realise more and more that Ron being sorted into Gryffindor in the films doesn't even make sense, despite the fact that he's a Weasley, of course. We have the scene in the Chamber of Secrets where Harry and Ron follow a line of spiders in order to get some information and save Hermione. You probably think back on that scene as a humorous one, especially because of Ron's iconic line,
Why spiders? Why couldn't we follow the butterflies?
Which of course is hilarious, but his fear and hesitation to head into the dark forest is anything but accurate. During this moment in the books, Ron is so quick to put his fear behind him. He's so determined to help Hermione. Adding this scene in the movie would have not only added to his overall character, but would have shown how much he cared for her, even when they were just 12 years old.
Welcome back, Hermione.
It's good to be back.
Remember this line?
Even in the wizarding world, hearing voices isn't a good sign.
It's what Hermione tells Harry when he questions whether he should open up about the voices he's hearing from the Chamber of Secrets. Let's talk about this for a second. The line sounds like it would come from someone who had experience in the wizarding world, someone who had grown up surrounded by magic, not someone who has only been in the wizarding world for less than 2 years. Basically, someone like Ron. And in the books, that was his line. His exact line was, "Hearing voices no one else can hear isn't a good sign, even in the wizarding world." Hermione stole his line basically word for word. By watching the films, you've probably come to the conclusion that Ron is pretty oblivious to a lot of things happening around him, like when he couldn't understand why Hermione was upset about Lavender. But he isn't meant to be completely clueless, especially when it comes to his best friends. In both the book and movie, Harry endures some pretty bad discipline techniques from Umbridge, where he's literally forced to carve the line, "I must not tell lies," into his hand. But being Harry, he wasn't going to tell anyone, except he couldn't keep his secret from Ron. Book Ron notices the scar basically the next time he sees him. However, in the Order of the Phoenix movie, it's Hermione who notices and makes a big deal about it.
What's wrong with your hand?
Nothing.
Not gonna lie, we're more than a little upset at how many iconic lines were stolen from Ron Weasley. The movies made him almost unrecognisable in comparison to the character J.K. Rowling wrote him to be. If he kept these lines, he might have been even more popular than Hermione. How do you feel about how they portrayed movie Ron? Let's discuss down below. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a like. We wouldn't want you missing out on all the things it has to offer. Thanks for watching.